Watch this 5th grade teacher as she uses a direct instruction model to deliver learning opportunities in a lesson about text features.
Okay, today we're going to talk about text features. Who knows what I mean when I say that?
Texting.
Texting? No, it's not texting. Although I'm sure there are some text features on your phone. That's not what this is about. Yes.
Paragraph editing.
Paragraph editing? Okay. What do you think?
Stuff like text, not text, but like words that we didn't.
Okay. So y'all are leaning more towards the editing, kind of fixing what's wrong with your writing, text features? Okay. Well, you know what? That's exciting for me. Because you know why? Because I get to teach you something new today. And that's always exciting for me. Because text features are not necessarily the texting on your phone, although I can see that. And it's not really the editing so much, but I can kind of see where you're coming from. And those are good ideas, and I'm glad you shared those. Okay? But text features are something really different. In social studies or in science or something like that, where you had to read maybe a section in your textbook for homework or in class. Okay? How did you do with that?
Good.
You did well reading the text. Sometimes for me, it's hard to understand all that scientific stuff, and sometimes I'll go through and I'll read it, and then I'll go, oh gosh, I really don't understand what I read. Has anybody had that happen to them?
Yeah.
I have. It's happened to me before, okay? Well, we're going to talk about today how to use text features to understand what we're reading. But before we do that, I want you to think about something for me.
Notice how the teacher uses a fun scenario with think, pair, share to establish the purpose with curiosity and suspense.
Okay, look up here at the board. I want you to think, listen, I want you to imagine this scenario, okay? You know what I mean when I say scenario?
Yeah.
Okay? Imagine that you're out in the middle of the ocean, okay? And all you have with you, you're stranded out there, you're in a rubber raft, not even a good, solid, sturdy built something. You're in a rubber raft in the ocean, you're 10 miles away from shore, and if that's not bad enough, you've got sharks circling all around you. And the only thing you have, the only things you have with you are 2 boat oars. You know what those are? The things you paddle with. Okay, you've got a flare gun. You know what that is?
Yes.
It's not a gun that you can shoot and kill stuff with. It's just, you shoot it flame up in the air to send a signal. You have an emergency kit with enough food to only last 2 days. And you have an emergency radio that'll only work from 2 miles out. Okay, so I'm giving you index cards in your basket. What I want you to do is take an index card out, and I want you to write what you would do if you were in this situation. This is not a talking time, this is a writing time. So get out your index card. What would you do to try to survive? What would you do to try to survive in this situation? On your paper. Tell us on your paper first. Okay, you'll have a chance to discuss it in just a few minutes, okay? Okay. Okay, who's going to present for your group? Okay, Nathan, tell everybody what you all had decided.
I would stay there for a little while, then I would use the paddles to fight off some of the sharks away, then travel to a secure place to be able to get a signal. If that does not work, I will stay there one more night, and the next morning I would shoot my flare gun and hope it works. If not, I would try to find civilization, and if I do, I will use their radio or their phone to call for help.
Okay. One thing that I've heard, no matter what your ideas were, was that no matter what you decided to do with the things that were there, what I heard everybody saying was that you would use all of those things to try to survive somehow, right?
Yep.
You would use every tool that you had at your disposal, every tool you had on that boat with you to try to survive. Is that correct? Okay. Well, reading is like that, and we did this little exercise because I want you to think about that. Reading is like that, and when you're reading that science book, or when you're reading that social studies book, or when you're reading another piece of nonfiction, you have a lot of tools at your disposal to help you to understand what you're reading, okay? And you need to use them just like you would use all of these things to survive out in the middle of the ocean. You need to use all of those things that are there for you to comprehend what you're reading in your book. Please don't do that. To understand what you're reading, okay? And understand how what the author is wanting you to get out of your assignment. So, what I want you to do now is think about some of those things that you see in your book. Picture a section in your science book or your social studies book and think about some things that you see, some features that aren't there. You all just read, did you all read The Island of Blue Dolphins? No. Did you all read the novel in Miss Gallery's room?
Frendel.
Frendel, okay, so you all read Frendel. Think about Frendel. Did you see anything in Frendel, any like different kinds of print? Did you have things like a glossary? Did you have pictures and diagrams and charts and things like that? Think about what you see in your science book that you wouldn't see in a novel. What do you see there that you wouldn't see in a novel? Write it on your index card. What do you see there that you wouldn't see in a novel?
Listen as the teacher sets up the we do portion of the lesson, then uses questioning and feedback.
I'm going to give your table an article that I want you just to glance at. You don't have to read every word, but I want you to just look at the article. Give everybody a chance to quietly just sort of scan over it. And then tell me what you think about the article. All right. Now, this article has no features in it whatsoever. It doesn't even have a title. There's no title. There's nothing in there to help you understand what you're reading at all. Now, I'm going to give you the same article that has some features in it. And I want you to look at the difference that having those text features makes when you're trying to read something. You go on Saturday night? There you go. Compare the two articles and see what you think. You've got rumor has it, so there's one. Look at the difference, Dustin, in those two. Let's look at the difference here. Look, in reading this one and this one. Which one do you think is easier to help you? Which one do you think will be easier to read? Yeah, why? Well, yeah, and it's divided up. Look, you've got all the headings. It's divided up more. So it breaks it apart into littler pieces, doesn't it?
I know who both of them are.
Cool. A little bit better. What are some things that are there that help you to comprehend? What do you think? Go ahead, Lucas.
The pictures, the title, and even the author and how old.
Okay. All right. You've got pictures. You've got captions there. It gives you a visual. And doesn't it make it a little more interesting? Aren't you a little more interested in what you're getting ready to read because of the pictures and because of the things that are there?
Yes.
It's more visually appealing, isn't it? Okay.
Before the teacher moves into the you do portion of the lesson, she checks understanding and reviews definitions.
I just wanted you to try. Even when you think you know some of these things, it's hard to match them up with their exact job, isn't it? Let's talk about them and figure out how these things help you as a reader. Now, I do apologize. This is in there. YouTube is blocked again because I don't know what happened, but YouTube is blocked again, so I can't show you the wrap. All right, so text features. Is this what you got? Headings. They help a reader understand what he or she will be reading, right? It sort of gives you an overview, the main idea of what's happening in that section of the book. Photos and captions, most of you probably got this. They provide a reader with additional information about something important that is related to the topic of the book. Photograph is the picture. The caption describes what the picture is, doesn't it? The table of contents provides a blueprint. What do I mean when I say blueprint? What is a blueprint? A plan. Like when somebody's building a house, they'll have just the blueprint of where all the boards and everything goes, and it doesn't look like a real house. It just looks like a sketch of boards of where they're going to be positioned, right? It's like a skeleton of a house. That's what the table of contents is. It's the skeleton of what the book is. Okay? It tells what topics are going to be covered. The index, this group over here said that the index was their favorite. It was Nathan's group. Index was their best text feature because when they need to look something up or they're looking for a specific answer, maybe on a worksheet or a homework assignment, they go to the index and look for that specific word, and then it tells them what page number it's on. So I would agree with you on that one. That's easy. All right, we're going to look at the books that you have now in the middle of your table. Okay, just pick one. Pick one. You can either pick a book or you can pick one of the magazines that's there. It doesn't matter which one. Did you have one? Quickly pick one. And some of you all, and there should be a set of task cards in the middle like this. If you don't have some, please raise your hand and I'll bring them to you. I know 2 tables do not have them because I didn't put them in there. You all have them? Okay, now I want you to look at whatever magazine that you have chosen or book that you've chosen, and I want you to take out the task cards. It doesn't matter which ones that you do right now, but pick some, all right? And look for those particular things in your book. This one says, for example, I just pulled out card number 13. Everybody, listen to me, please, before you get started. Logan, look this way, please. Card number 13 says, a table displays a large amount of information in an organized and compact way. Find a table in your book. What information is displayed on that table, and what are 3 things you can learn from this table? Well, if your book doesn't have one, you can put that card back or get the other book and try to find one in the other book. But there's enough cards here that everybody should be able to find the features that are in your book and answer those questions, okay? You can use the index cards to write down, and what I want you to do is at least 5 task cards on 5 different text features, okay? So dig through your cards and find 5 different task cards, and there's enough for each of you to have 5 different ones. For your book.
While the students are practicing independently, the teacher uses a checklist while she assesses.